Welcome to Empower Today. Last Sunday we were thinking about Jesus' I am saying, I am the true vine. And so on Monday and today we've been thinking about what does that mean. Jesus said, I am the true vine, remain in me or abide in me or dwell in me. The main point of the Christian faith is to be with Jesus, because when we're with Jesus we become more like him. But is Jesus just a word for us? Have we got to a point where we're so familiar or overly familiar with Jesus that he's just a word like soap or bread? Jesus. Not a curse word, but just a word. When was the last time you or I really thought about what Jesus is like? Because if we're not feeding our imagination, and we can be playful guys when we're thinking about Jesus, if we're not feeding our imagination, then we're not going to be thinking about Jesus, and then we're not going to be dwelling with him, and we're not going to be becoming more like him. And in the end, he becomes a vine like this in our lives, dead and dry. Now, Jesus will never be dead in our lives, let's be clear, but we can have a dry view of what he's like if we're not careful, can't we? And then when that vine isn't vibrant, the weeds in our lives, the sin, the crud, begins to grow up, and that's prickly, isn't it? So when I say to you, Jesus, what do you think of? I'll tell you what I think of. The Old Testament prophet Isaiah said that there was nothing about him physically that would make us look at him. He wouldn't catch your attention as he walked down Tonbridge High Street. So he's a fairly nondescript person to look at. There's an old black and white BBC play of Jesus that you can only find now on YouTube, I think, and in it Jesus has a paunch and is about 5'6" tall. There's nothing about him that's Brad Pitt or George Clooney. He's just an ordinary looking bloke. In Jesus's day, most people would have lost teeth or have had holes in their teeth. When you think of Jesus, has he just walked out of the orthodontists and the dentists with his pearly white teeth? Or do you picture Jesus when he laughs, who has got a few gaps and wonky teeth? And does he laugh, your Jesus that you worship? Because he does. The annoying thing for me with the parables is that we've made them so spiritual in some Christian areas that we forget that some of them are actually jokes. Jesus is telling a joke to make a point. Don't jokes do that? They make you think. When Jesus talks about God being like a grumpy old man that won't come to the door when an elderly lady knocks because she wants, and he's linking that to prayer, he's not saying that God's like that. He's making a joke and saying to the disciples, do you really think God's like that? Do you really think God can't be bothered to get up and attend to you and listen to your prayers? Of course not. He's nothing like a grumpy old man. And Jesus' clothes, he wasn't probably in pristine white garments. They would have been the clothes of the day. And his hair probably long. He was Jewish, his skin would have been olive. He wouldn't have been white at all. What's the Jesus that you dwell with, abide in, remain in, like? What does he sound like? Is his voice booming like that thunder that we just heard? Or is his voice a bit nasally? We know that he could tell a good story, so he had the gift of the gab, as it were, as well as the Holy Spirit dwelling within him. What was his favourite food? Did he always go for the bread first or the olives? Was he a lamb guy? Did he serve the wine to others in the meals when he was at Mary and Martha's, or did they serve it to him? We know that he was gentle and kind, and we know that he sometimes got angry, like that thunder roaring right now. Who is Jesus? Can I encourage you, have a think when this is finished about what Jesus is really like. Because that's the Jesus you talk to in your prayers. That's the Jesus who shapes who you are. That's the Jesus who you, who I, who we abide, dwell and remain in. Let's think about him so that the vine that is the true vine doesn't become dry in our hearts, minds and souls. Take care.